Just park the car.
Would you let go of my wheel?
Come on! Hey, watch it! Watch it!
You open a portal to 2005, a time where phones flipped open. YouTube was just a small uploading website that almost had no issues, and the main problem that children had to deal with were when they were going to be able to watch their favorite cartoons. Now picture this, you're a 10-year-old coming home from a day of either schoolhouse popularity or awkward social punishment and turn on Nickelodeon, the kids network, and suddenly the first thing you see is that iconic blue and green background. And you know what time it's for? Drake and Josh. Yes, this 4-season long show about the adventures of two stepbrothers was and still is one of my favorite comedies on Nickelodeon, right up there with iCarly. This is one of the only sitcoms on Nick that gets better as the seasons go on. It has been the home of hilarious slapstick comedy, quotable moments,
And it's spherical! Spherical!
and some truly great episodes. And seeing how there are so many great episodes of this very series, I decided to talk about my 6 favorite episodes. My only rules is that they have to be from the original 4 seasons, not any of the movies, since it won't be fair if I put them in. With all that said, sit back, grab some snacks, and let's count down my picks for the top 6 Drake and Josh episodes.
It's gonna take some time to realize.
Girl power. Drake has a girlfriend named Lucy in this episode, and he learns that she's tough after fighting a jock bigger than herself. Even so, he doesn't think Lucy is tougher than him, so she challenges him to a wrestling match. Meanwhile, Josh's girlfriend, Mindy, introduces him to her parents. Drake and Lucy's wrestling match happens on the same night of Josh's dinner with Mindy's parents, which causes some problems. This episode acts as a sort of expectation reversal of sorts, where in a lot of media, you see the big strong male defending the woman. Here, it's completely reversed, showing the women doing the work. I thought it was hilarious how neither Drake nor Josh could take on these jocks, but Lucy destroyed them. Then, Helen came in with her bat and scared them out of the theater. Lucy proves that no matter what, you should never underestimate the strength of a girl.
It's gonna take some time to realize.
The Drake and Josh Inn. I bet this was the first taste a lot of us got of a wild college party. The story for this episode is that Drake and Josh's parents ask them to babysit Megan while they go away for spring break, giving them $200 for food. Drake and Josh blow all of the money on pointless items, so they have to find a way to make some more. After talking to a couple with no place to stay for spring break, they lie and say that their house is a bed and breakfast called the Drake and Josh Inn. After this works, Drake finds more people, mostly college kids, to stay in their bed and breakfast. The trouble is, though, that these college kids throw a wild party and trash their house. After the party is broadcasted on TV, Drake and Josh's parents decide to come home. With the help of their evil little sister, Megan, they convince everyone that there is a toxic gas leak in the house and they all need to leave. This episode is hilarious because it's one of the many examples of the boys being careless. Now, I'm not in college yet, so I haven't been to any wild parties, so I really appreciate the way Drake and Josh handled this situation.
It's gonna take some time to realize.
The Storm. Drake has a concert to put on with his band, so he invites all of his friends, which is basically the entire cast, to travel to the concert on a bus. Sadly, everyone there ends up trapped in Drake and Josh's house during a severe thunderstorm, and one of my favorite Drake and Josh quotes appears in this episode when Drake asks his smart friend,
You're a nerd? How do you stop the rain?
There are so many things going on in this episode. For one, Drake and Josh's friend, Gary, flirts with their mom. Meanwhile, devious Megan gets 2 of Drake's ex-girlfriends and his current girlfriend together to have a conversation about Drake. One of these girls is Lucy. Crazy Steve can also be seen yelling at Dora the Explorer on an old television. The end of this episode is also one of the most iconic moments on the show, when the TV breaks and the gang is left with nothing to do. So Helen gets the entire cast to sing We Will Rock You. I would play it, of course, but YouTube would probably bust through the door and claim my video. I love the episode for so many reasons. Many cast members we don't get to see very often make an appearance all in one episode, and this is also the only time the entire cast of Drake and Josh appear in the same episode, which made the ending really magical in my opinion.
There's a space. Nice job, man.
It's gonna take some time to realize.
Steered straight. Drake and Josh get mixed up of one of their stickiest situations yet. After getting caught with fake IDs, their parents are encouraged by 2 police officers to enroll them in a steered straight program, where they get a taste of what it's like to actually be arrested. When they're ambushed and taken into a police car, a real criminal named Blaze jumps into the car while the 2 police officers leave to investigate a situation, and Blaze drives away with the stepbrothers in the back. Drake and Josh believe that they should pretend to be real criminals, but it only makes the situation worse for them when Blaze ends up in their home. I never stopped laughing when I watched this episode, no matter how many times I've seen it, and watching nerdy Josh try to act like a criminal just makes the episode even funnier to me. There are so many other funny moments in this episode as well, like when Walter tries to tell the boys to act like men while wearing a prom dress, and Drake and Josh trying to dial 911 while in handcuffs. This has to be one of the most hilarious scenes in the entire show.
It's gonna take some time to realize.
Megan's first kiss. Drake and Josh suspect Megan is up to something when she exhibits some sneaky behavior, so they follow her to the movie theater. Dressed like Jewish men. They learn that she's on a date with a boy named Corey, but they quickly become protective brothers when they see Corey go in for a kiss. Megan becomes angry with them after Corey breaks up with her, so the boys apologize to Corey so Megan can date him again. Things turn for the worse though when they find out Corey is also dating another girl. This episode can act as a commentary of how older siblings act when their younger brother or sister enters the dating realm, with both Drake and Josh sneaking into the theater making sure Megan isn't pulling any nasty tricks. The funniest part about this episode is when Drake and Josh speak in an Irish accent, creating the phrase we all know and love.
Pip, pip, da doodly-doo.
Pip, pip, the doodly-doo. I'm gonna start saying that.
Also, I think it's adorable that even though Drake and Josh think Megan is evil, they still go to extreme lengths to protect her from a cheating boyfriend. She even tells Drake and Josh that she loves them, which is the first time she's ever said that in the series. Now, before we get to number 1, I just have one honorable mention. The bet. Drake and Josh make a bet that they can go a whole day without doing what they've become used to doing, eating junk food and playing video games, which I can say describes a lot of people's teenage years very well. The episode definitely pushes its comedy aspect hard, showing how the two react to not being able to do what they want. An overall hilarious episode, and with that said, on to number 1.
It's gonna take some time to realize.
Josh is done. You know, I bet there are a lot of people who have had the thought of why people stay friends if they just cause each other misery. Sure, we've seen episodes of how the person who constantly gets crapped on immediately has a better life, but Drake and Josh is one of the first examples that come to my mind when we see the negative effects of what happens to a person when their friends leave them for better people. And in no other episode has this been more clear than in Josh is Done. The story of this episode is that Josh has finally had enough of him suffering because of Drake and decides to cut ties with him after failing a chemistry quiz that he studied so hard for. Throughout the episode, we see Josh become more successful, while in a cruel twist of fate, we see Drake suffer instead. The episode builds and builds and builds until Drake breaks down and starts apologizing to Josh in one of the series' most heartbreaking moments. This might be one of the most saddest episodes of Drake and Josh because our favorite dynamic duo breaks up for a heart-wrenching 20 minutes. However, the end of the episode is so cute because Drake makes a speech in front of his whole class of how much he loves his brother. Then Drake and Josh go right back to being the most iconic stepbrothers on television with a good old-fashioned game of ping pong. This episode should teach any set of siblings, or even friends for that matter, that no matter what, you should never take each other for granted. Always take a second step back and realize all the reasons you love them. Once again, it's time for another Geek Recommends. This is where I recommend you a bunch of channels that I feel are underrated. The first channel to recommend is Andrew IG, a commentary and review channel that covers all different types of media. The next channel to recommend is Media Oddities, a channel covering all things from TV shows, amusement park rides, and more. The final channel to recommend is Manuel D, a new face in the cartoon community who, while he doesn't have much videos, puts a lot of effort into the ones he does have. Anyways, subscribe for more cartoon videos, hit the bell, and I'll see you all in the next one.
Eat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up. Reese's Puffs. Eat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up, beat 'em up. I got Reese's Puffs in my bowl. Nowadays on cruise control. I got Reese's Puffs in my bowl. And just like that, I'm on a roll. Reese's Puffs. Peanut butter chocolate flavor. Reese's Puffs. In the AM, it's the flavor I savor. Peanut butter and chocolate too. You know how I do, that's what I wake up